Hello everyone, today I will be making trades not in currencies as usual, but in stocks. Overall, it is morning now, the market is asleep, so both currencies and stocks are OTC. Nevertheless, I still think that the stock price will move more calmly. In general, I remind you that the link to Pocket with a 50% bonus on deposits will be in the description below the video, but for now, I will start. So, the stock of Johnson & Johnson, I'm sure many know this company. Well, at least those who have children have seen a baby oil like Johnson Baby. This product is owned by that company. It is clear to the naked eye that there is a downward trend, so I will first mark it with these lines. One will indicate the maximums and the other, which is at the bottom, will indicate the minimums. That is, thanks to these lines, I will be able to see potential entry points for both downward and upward movements. The maxima are more clearly visible here, but the minima are not quite so. In several places the price dropped below. If it were a one-time occurrence I wouldn't have noted it, but as you can see, it often dropped significantly. And just above this line, you can visually overlay another line of minimums. This will be the main one. The one below will be, so to speak, the final zone. That is, if the price approaches it, there will be the maximum guarantee of a rebound upwards. In this channel, the trend will generally be indicated. The upper part is a clear zone, while the lower part is somewhat vague. But the most important thing is that there are reference points. They may not be very clear, but there is already an understanding of how the price moves. And of course, I will now add the PS zones, then wait for a specific signal and resume the video. So, according to the previous bounces, from the maximum line, there is another similar bounce here. An impulse candle has immediately gone below the local zone. On the minute chart, a clear breakout of the local zone is visible, followed by a pullback to it. The downward movement has resumed immediately. Yes, so far it is not as active as one would like, but the fact of the decline is there. This indicates that the zone has been updated and the price intends to go down. There is very low volatility on the minute charts, and trades for 1 minute may not be sufficient right now, so it's better to enter with a buffer for 2 minutes. The trade, according to the analysis, is going into profit quite confidently. I will explain the logic of this entry point. So, the price in this trend moves within a specific channel. It consists of these two lines of maximums and minimums. In the channel, any trend moves in bounces from line to line. In fact, I waited for another bounce, and additionally, there was a breakout of the local zone below, which gave me complete confidence in this entry point. That is, at this point, the price bounced off the line downwards. And if it bounced off this line, where else can it go but towards the line of minimums? In addition to this, there was a local zone below that the price broke through. It is likely to move either towards this line or to the very bottom. Which one is still unclear. All that remains is to watch and wait. The price has already dropped to the first lower line, from which a rebound upwards is visible. By the way, a local support zone is also present there. And, as you can see, the bounce was from both of these lines. Therefore, together, these two zones provide strong protection against a breakout. Everything aligns on the minute charts as well. There is a green candle. After such impulses, I think it will rise further, so I will enter for an increase. The trade confidently ends in profit. I will explain the logic behind this entry point. The analysis was based on the average line of the channel of this trend, indicating the minimums. The price often bounced upwards from it, which is impossible to overlook. In my case, the same thing happened. The price bounced upwards, and along with this line, there was also a support zone. The more details indicate a particular movement, the stronger the entry point. Therefore, the trade went clearly into profit. Let's move on. It is currently hovering around the zone. There was an attempt to rise higher, but judging by the shadow, there is also downward pressure. Nevertheless, this candle is still green and is starting to rise, plus there is a local zone below it, so the potential for an upward movement is still greater. So, in order to reach the upper line of the channel, it makes sense to enter a buy position. I will probably enter with a buffer for 2 minutes. The trade ends in a loss, the price has simply stagnated, and there is no point in entering trades while it remains in this sideways movement. We'll wait a bit, and as soon as something becomes clear, I will resume the video. So, after another slight decline, the price touched the lows again and bounced back. I didn't look at the minute charts because the volatility is very low. On the 3-minute chart, the candles are much larger, which means there are fewer chances of getting stuck in a range, and at the beginning of this new candle, I will enter a trade. The trade is clearly in profit. Logically, I won't say anything new here, meaning the emphasis was on this line from which the price constantly bounced back up. And the same thing happened in my case. It touched the line, started to rise, and on that rise I entered a trade. As for this marked local resistance zone, at the very least, judging by previous increases, the price has strong potential to rise. I will observe and act based on the actual outcome. For now, let's move on. Judging by the candles, the situation is changing. The price has settled below the average line of the lows, and there is also a local zone below this line. And in total, we can now observe a candlestick formation known as a triangle. It indicates that the price will soon move very actively in one direction, and it is clear that towards the end, it broke out downwards, so I am entering there as well. The trade was in the red, but it rose again. There were certainly such exits, but there was almost nothing left until the end of the triangle, so I thought this was already a signal. Alright, let's observe. So, the triangle is coming to an end. I think there will be a clear signal now. I will switch to a 2-minute time frame. There is less noise here, and everything is becoming clearer. A green candle appears, now closely approaching a line that looks more like a line of highs. It has already broken through it and is finishing above it, as we can see, and this is indeed the signal for an upward movement. In the last seconds, the trade confidently goes into profit. This was aided by an amazing candlestick combination. I really love triangles. Why? Because first of all, it is a very easy figure to perceive, consisting of just 2 lines, one diagonal and one horizontal. Secondly, if you can clearly catch the price breakout, the trade will be as confident as possible. Yes, I rushed at first and went for a downward trade, but again, it was justified because I had 2 zones to rely on. In the end, I still waited for my full exit, entered the trade, and came out with a profit. I think that's enough for this trade. As usual, I ended up with about 5 to 6 trades, which is sufficient for me in terms of profitability, and I believe it will help you understand the logic behind making them. Technical analysis is not just about triangles and zones. There are many other candlestick patterns and overall perspectives on various situations. For instance, I see these situations and show them to you, and I work through them myself. However, on the same chart, another person knowledgeable in technical analysis could identify many other profitable entry points. This highlights that technical analysis is fundamental, and it's important to know at least the basics. If you understand these basics, you won't need any signals or additional help. That is why I create all these self-learning videos for you, so that you can watch, learn independently, and not depend on anyone else. Only with this approach will you achieve success in this field, because you will see all the situations with your own eyes. You will understand why the price moved this way or that. Rather than relying on someone else for help, when, for example, you make trades based on signals, yes, this is good in the initial stage from which one should start. But in the end, you must agree that your mind isn't fully engaged because the analysis is done for you. You only conditionally understand some nuances of why a particular signal is given, but overall, you do not have a complete understanding. And when you do everything yourself, when you feel the price and its movement, the results for each of you will be much better. The main thing is to know at least the basics of technical analysis. In general, that's how it went. There were 4 profitable trades and only 2 losses. I will wrap it up here. For those who have a strong interest in technical analysis, I have a book in my closed Telegram channel. I shared it for free with all participants. This book is purely about technical analysis, filled with useful information and minimal fluff. And with that, I will be wrapping up. Be sure to leave your comments under the video. Also, don't forget to like and hit the bell to stay connected and not miss new episodes. To join my channel, you just need to write in the VK blog, "I want to join the team." Hugs to everyone. Bye.